Hi, this is Christopher Mosier from the Fan Film Podcast talking to you again. It's November 7th, 2009. We're on episode 59, and we've got a double dose for you this time out. We're going to be speaking with a couple guys involved in a fan film about the Harry Potter series, and that's going to be Kellen Gibbs and Mr. George Norman. And then we're going to be hooking up at the second part of the show with Fanboy Will, who hung out at this year's Big Apple Comic Convention. He got a couple quick interviews with Helen, Slater, and Schneider, and he's going to talk about his experiences there. And then come next week, we're actually going to have the Schneider panel talk, and we'll put that, it's like a 45-minute audio bit, so we'll just include that as one episode. So I'm going to stop blabbing, because you don't want to hear me blab, and we're going to get right to this week's podcast. Thanks for listening. Peace.
The Hollow Crossing is not a place, it's a time. The moment the planets align. And it's the place that all three of the relics of Merlinus Ambrosius are brought together. That is his requirement.
We have to stop it.
Dark times lie ahead, James Potter.
Whatever you are up to, after tonight, it won't matter.
Your father's battle is over.
This is not my fight!
Yours begins.
It has just begun.
And Joe, what state are you in?
California.
California, okay.
I'm in the state of confusion, usually. So, Fanboy Will can join us. I don't know what he's doing.
Okay.
He's saving the world or something. I don't know. All right, let me call George here.
Hello?
Hey, I'm looking for George Norman.
That would be me.
Hey, George. This is Chris Mosier. I got Kellen on the line with me here. Afternoon
Cool.
to you. Where you got? Kellen's in California. You're where again?
I'm in St. Louis.
Okay. Which they moved to Missouri, I think, right?
Yeah, we moved to Missouri the last about 8 years ago.
Okay,
Been here
cool.
for a while now, but
All right, awesome. How old a guy are you? I know Kellen's like 18, just to get a...
yeah,
Actually.
it's been a while since I've been 18. I'm 39.
Hey, I'm right with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
There we go.
We are speaking with Kellen Gibbs and Mr. George Norman Lippert. Is that your phone?
That's right.
Okay.
Cool. Hey.
And they somehow they came together to make a fan film about Harry. Well, sort of, kind of for Harry Potter.
Yeah, and obliquely.
Why don't you real quickly? We'll start with George, and just kind of give me a quick background on yourself, a little personal history there, and then we'll kind of link you to and how you guys got together.
All right, sure. Okay. Well, the short story is I'm a computer animator, and I've been a hobbyist writer for decades. I never really took it very seriously, but when the final Harry Potter book came out, my wife were big fans. I just didn't, I wasn't satisfied with the ending. I had no idea. I was satisfied with the ending. I wanted there to be more. I was dissatisfied that it was over. At the time, I had no idea what fan fiction even was. I just, for the fun of it, sat down and started writing something. And this little drabble that I began, I read it to my wife, and she liked it, so I kind of tacked a little more onto it, and it grew into this full-length novel. The novel I ended up releasing online due to the encouragement of some friends, and it became a rather shocking kind of worldwide phenomenon for a while, and that was the beginning of the whole James Potter series.
Okay, when did you start that?
Let's see, that was very shortly after the last Harry Potter book came out, so that was, I think I released it on December 1st. What would that have been? Kevin, you remember?
I don't remember, because I got a hold of it during April of 2008, I think.
Yeah, so I released it on December 1st, 2007.
And Kellen, why don't you give me a little background, how you got into the whole film-making deal?
Back when I was in 7th grade, when I was about 14, I actually started with a Harry Potter fan film based on, it was like a prequel to Harry Potter, about his parents and stuff. And then I've just been making films ever since, and then I came across George's book, like I said, in April of 2008, and then I really liked it, and then I talked to some friends, and we wanted to get a movie going about it because we really liked it. So, yeah, it was fun.
It's kind of like your Star Wars, kind of, sort of. I grew up with George, I'm sure, grew up with Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Is that safe to say Harry Potter's kind of this generation's Star Wars?
Yeah.
I can't think of any other property that would be in the same.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a fair analogy. I mean, it's ubiquitous to this generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Star Wars was just kind of Generation X, and I don't know, Harry Potter's kind of Generation.
Yeah, and similarly, I could bet that Harry Potter will have the same sort of lasting influence for generations to come as has Star Wars. One of my kids are 4 and 7, and they're big time Star Wars fans.
I happen to agree with that. Okay, how'd you guys hook up?
Kellen, you emailed me, let's see, when was it? It was a couple of years ago. It was right around, I was just beginning to work on the second book, and you sent me an email and just basically said, hey, do you mind? Would you give us permission to make this movie? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I wrote back right off the bat and said, I don't own the James Potter anything. This is entirely fan-driven, so knock yourself out. You have just as much right to it as I do, so have fun. And that's where it sort of began.
We're not talking some short story here. We're talking, like, I perused through the first novel. We're talking 300, 400 pages.
Yeah,
per novel, and that's 3 novels, correct?
Yeah, I'm working on the 3rd novel right now.
Right.
And so, the intention, I believe, Kellen, was to make the whole movie, right?
Yeah, originally, yeah.
For all 3 films into one movie, or all 3 novels into one film?
No, it was originally the first book. We were going to just do the whole film and do the first book and then see where it went from there.
And you made a good bit of progress on that, if I recall.
Like halfway, or a while into it when we were filming, we lost, like, a ton of the footage, so we had to rethink everything, and then we decided to turn it into like a short film, like a 30-minute film, taking a portion of the book into movie form.
Would you get your friends and family to be your actors?
Yeah, my dad actually plays one of the main characters, Merlin, in the movie.
I did watch one of your films, one you earlier recall the title there. Was that your mom and dad who were in that?
They're probably in it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, who wrote George, did you write the adaptation for your book, or is that what Kellen did?
No, I'm frankly kind of pleased to say that Kellen has just taken this and gone completely full bore on his own. They've really, you guys have written the screenplay, and I've done a little bit of the special effects for it, but that's about it. Kellen, who did help you guys out with that?
Luke Abella. He's one of your fans from Australia. He contacted me and asked me if he could help with the script, and then he just got into it, and we become good friends, and he helped us with that. It was pretty cool.
Okay, excellent. Now, this is actually the son of Harry Potter.
Yes.
So James Potter
is the firstborn son of Harry Potter, as per the Harry Potter's epilogue from the last and final book.
What happens to, and you got to forgive me as we go along, I know nothing about Harry Potter. I've never seen a movie, I've never read a chapter of a book.
You should pick it up, it's worth reading.
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's made a couple dollars, so maybe I...
Yeah. Yeah, as a typically countercultural guy myself, I have to admit that if I had not been introduced to Harry Potter fairly early on, I would probably kind of turn my nose up at it even now.
Because it's so successful now.
It's just so monstrously big. Yeah. So it's such a money monster. And if you have a shred of countercultural, attitude, then it's going to be hard to pick it up. But this is one of those rare examples where it is actually worth looking at.
Yeah. So as you're thinking as far as going into the books, okay, you felt that the last book kind of ended prematurely or didn't satisfy.
No, I think as a story arc, the 7-book Harry Potter story was very satisfying. I think it ended very well. But there is so much to this concept of the magical world. One of my immediate questions when I even began considering the whole idea of this magical world is obviously Hogwarts isn't the only magical school in the universe. What would an American version of Hogwarts look like, for instance, which was where my concept of Alma Alaron, which is the American equivalent of Hogwarts, came from. But the bottom line is there's so many more avenues of this universe to explore, so many more stories worth telling. When I did finally go and start looking at other Harry Potter fan fiction, so much of it was just rehashes of the same story, the same characters. I really wanted to break away and start something completely new in that universe, but with new characters.
Is Harry involved in the story at all? I'm not sure what happens to his character at the end of the...
Yeah. Again, according to J.K. Rowling and her epilogue, as well as several interviews that she's given since then, Harry Potter grows up to become an Auror, which is the wizarding equivalent of sort of the FBI. He's a high-powered cop in the wizarding world.
Okay.
So I kept that detail in my story, and he does play a secondary minor role, but the story is very much driven by James and his friends.
All right, now, Kellen, get into how you got this together. So you contacted George. As far as what kind of equipment do you use as far as filming? kind of get into how you bring George's vision into the film. Kind of give us a little background on how, the process you go to do that.
Well, for his vision, he does a lot of the special effects, so him putting his vision into work, and then I just take what I read from the books and just what I imagine, and then turn it into what I think it should be in the film.
And then how long did it take you to film that?
We have some clips that we took from the original shooting, and then from the new filming, we started filming the new short in May, I think.
Okay.
So it's been from May to, I think we finished filming around August.
Okay, and it took you, well, we're on November, so it took you 2.5 months to edit that together.
Yeah.
And that's coming out November 21st?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so it'll just be on YouTube or a download on your website?
Well, we have a premiere on November 21st on livestream.com/James Potter Films.
Okay.
And that'll be at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then from then on, it'll be on YouTube.
All right, very good. Anything else you wanted to, as far as your cast, your crew, the people that helped you, Kellen? Anyone you want to give props to?
Matthew, he did a great job at playing the main role of James Potter. He's a fabulous actor. He's been in many of my movies, and he just does a great job. And everyone in the cast have done just a fabulous job in this film.
As far as I recall, a lot of these people in your film, they are actors in local theater, are they not?
Yeah. A lot of them are.
Oh, really? How do you get to contacting them? Just like Craigslist? Do you visit the theater?
No, actually, most of the kids from the theater are my friends, so I just have them under contact. So.
And you're involved in the local theater as well, then?
Not really.
No.
But they just I don't know. I just got to know them, and that's who attracted me, I guess.
Well, what's your aspiration? Are you now? Are you a senior in high school this year, or have you graduated?
I'm a junior. I'm 16.
Oh, okay. I thought you were 18. Okay, you're younger than I thought you were. What are your aspirations as far as going into your filming career beyond your high school years?
Well, I hope to someday be a producer and maybe editor of films.
Yeah, you like that a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
You're looking for, obviously, college, go to a film school or something like that at this point.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go to UCLA sometime.
Okay, very nice.
Cool.
Okay, George, what are your future aspirations?
Well, having written these books and achieved a to me very surprising level of readership, it definitely made me want to take my writing more seriously. I mean, I'm sort of a filmmaker. I make computer-generated films, and I work in that industry. But I've definitely come to realize that I really love stories. So I wrote an entirely original story that I am shopping around trying to seek publication for, which is a long and arduous process. But I am hoping to push through that.
Yes, sir. I dabble in it myself, and I know it's.
Oh yeah.
It's not easy. There's a lot of us out there.
Experienced any success with it so far?
Not really. No. Self-published some comics and self-published a short novel, and that's about it.
I have been on the edge of the self-published comics world through a partner of mine once. I did some art for it, and I definitely saw that's a very long and hard journey. Yeah, definitely. Anything that I would be aware of, just kind of a small press stuff that I'm guessing, right? It was pretty small. I mean, it was released and it was distributed nationwide. It was a little comic called The Symbiotes. It was marketed as one of the first complete computer-generated comic books, and I did all the art for it. I wasn't the writer on that one, but it achieved some degree of attention just because the art was so different. A lot of detail went into that. Okay, but it just it was a money pit, and it lasted about 5 episodes. I've got like 4,000 books downstairs of the first comic that I came out with. I thought if you had a finished comic, no problem. You could get it into Diamond distribution, and you wouldn't have a problem to get out there. It don't work that way. Yeah, exactly. Getting it, being distributed by Diamond is one thing. Getting comic store buyers to want to look at it and take it seriously, exactly, not affiliated with a major, you're pretty much shot. Yeah. And this is before I was a big comic book guy. And I'm still pretty much, but I was kind of naive as to what the process was. I think that's where we were too. I'm glad we tried it, but you live and you learn, and now that's why I've decided to go for this time. I don't want to go self-publish anymore. I want to try to get hooked up with a real publisher. Yeah, quote unquote real. Yeah, which is again very, very, very not easy. Yes. Are you a traditional artist? You use Flash animation? I do everything. I do my own illustrations. You know, if you've glanced through any James Potter stuff, any illustrations in there are stuff I've created. But I also do Flash animation. My website is entirely Flash created by me. And but my primary workhorse right now is Photoshop and Maya. That's where I do my 3D animation. I use
awesome.
Industry standard Maya is pretty well known.
What's that? I'm not familiar with Maya, but I use Photoshop myself.
Maya is a 3D animation platform. It's used by Pixar. It's used by any major animation house uses Maya in some portion in their pipeline. That's where I create all my 3D models. That's where I animate them. It's a 3D animation workhorse.
A gazillion dollars per license?
Pretty darn expensive.
Yeah,
several thousand at the very least.
I bet. What's your website?
The website is speedbumpstudios.com.
All right, I'm going to check that out.
It's a little old, but it still holds up. I need to replace the demo reel with some of the new, more current stuff, but I'm pretty happy with it.
All right, guys. Let me just go through my list of questions here.
One of the things I was impressed with that Kellen attempted is it looks like you did a whole lot of this stuff on green screen with CG backgrounds. Isn't that right, Kellen?
Yeah.
I don't know very much about fan cinema, but that seems to be unusual.
Yeah, a lot of it was done on green screen. About a big portion, maybe more than half of it was done on green screen, actually.
Mm-hmm. So you had the actors just acting in front of a big green sheet, right? I mean, and then you replace all the backgrounds. That must have been a challenge for you guys.
Yeah, it was. It was the first time we'd actually done such big shooting in front of a green screen. Mm-hmm. So it was a little difficult, but it was fun at the same time.
Well, I would sort of guess that, and I'm not an actor myself, but it would seem that if you are standing physically in the environment, say it's a big castle room or something, that you can draw a lot of your inspiration for how you're going to perform from that environment. If you're standing in a studio with a green screen, it seems like you'd have to call on a lot more of your own personal creative energy to make that work.
Yeah, that takes a lot of work. It was kind of hard for some of the characters because they didn't understand what I was trying to make them do, because there wasn't anything there to act upon. So,
right.
But they got it.
The kid's got a great imagination, so I'm sure it wasn't too difficult for him.
Yeah, they're young kids, so.
Well, anyway, that's about it for me. I don't know anything else.
All right. Kellen, did you have anything else for us?
I think I'm good, yeah.
Well, promote your film one more time. Give us the date and the websites and all that good stuff.
James Potter will be on November 21st at livestream.com/James Potter Films.
Okay.
We'll be there.
Be there.
You also got your, you can go to www.eldercrossing.com for some more information on that as well.
That's for the books and stuff, but I think we have links to the film website.
Yeah, you can go to www.jamespotterfilms.com and you'll see stuff on the film.
Is there a trailer up? I didn't see it, if there is.
Yeah, the trailer looks awesome.
Okay.
Definitely worth checking out.
I don't know if the trailer's on the site. It might be on YouTube.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I didn't find a link for it.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe.
All right, George, why don't you promote what you're working on, and you can close it up for us.
Anybody interested in checking out the books, which, of course, I highly recommend, they can find the current two books at jamespotterseries.com, and as well as a little bit of teaser information regarding the third book, which is going to be coming out January 1st. It'll be released a chapter a day throughout the whole of January.
All right, awesome. You're getting lots of hits on that. That's
it's a phenomenon. I love it. Yeah. Lots of fun.
All right, guys. I wish you much luck. I'm sure I'll be in touch with Kellen. Hopefully, we'll keep in touch with you as well, there, George.
Yeah, no problem. Kel, thanks much.
Thanks for taking the time. I very much appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
have a good night and afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. All right, guys.
All right, see ya.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We haven't talked in a while. We haven't done a show in a while.
I know. It feels weird. I'm like, okay, got to loosen up here. It feels like my first show for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, we're going to talk to Mr. Fanboy Will McKenzie about his experiences at the Big Apple Comic-Con. That's what it was, right? Correct?
Yes. It'll be the full title, the 2009 Wizard World Big Apple Comic-Con. It's a mouthful, but that's the official title.
Where was that held?
This was held at Pier 94. which is a lower part of the city. It's actually a really nice area by the water, a lot of like seafood places and stuff down there.
Nice. Lots of
but I actually went to a hip-hop show there once. It was like kind of like a smaller, like an underground hip-hop show there a long time ago, and that was the last time I went. And, me and my friends from school went or whatever, and that was it. I'm like, wow, this is a really cool place. It's like such a big place. There'd be more things here, and I actually thought to myself, it'd be awesome if they had like a comic show here, because they have so much room in this area that, it'd be perfect. So here we go all these years later, and it was like 4 or 5 years later, and here we are with the convention at the Pier 94.
Excellent.
But I actually wanted to say, originally, the Big Apple Comic-Con was usually held right across the street from MSG I think the original name was the Penn Plaza, or the Pennsylvania Hotel, for years and years and years, ever since I was a little kid. And I think the gentleman's name is, I believe it's Mike Carbonaro, who's the original boss or manager of the show for all these years.
Yeah.
And, he's friends with Chris, and I met him through Chris Notarilli, and I talked to him, and he's a cool dude. He's kind of like an eccentric kind of a dude, Yeah. Like you could see him fitting in with the Velvet Underground and Andy Warhol and people like that, like just hanging out with them, and he's like artsy kind of, But anyway, so this guy, he's been running the show a while, and they had one last show last year, and so I said, this year, I wonder what they're going to have. So I went to the website, and the whole venue just flipped completely around, and it said, it will be held at Pier 94. And I'm like, what? And yep, that's the, now Wizard, actually, Gareb Shamus and Wizard actually bought the show from him. And now they got their paws on it, so they had the money to throw in for star power, so they got a whole bunch of, celebrities to appear. But, lots of people. I was, happy to see there's a couple Smallville people there. Got to see John Schneider talk here later. And got to speak to a couple other people. Helen Slater, who was actually played in person especially. Wow, beautiful lady. I mean, even on screen and off, I was just like, wow. I was kind of taken back a little bit.
She's probably like in her 40s or something, because I'm kind of an older woman kind of guy. So was she in her 40s?
I would say so. Yeah, probably like early. I mean, I might be insulting her. No offense if she hears this, but she was just beautiful. I mean, it didn't really. To me, it didn't matter. And she was extremely nice and pleasant, and more than willing to talk about anything. And she was very relaxed.
Somehow, I don't think it's bad on her part if we called her beautiful. I think that would be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like being like a scumbag, like what a looker, oh boy. Humana.
Well, this is Fanboy Will. I'm here today with Miss Helen Slater of Supergirl's Legend of Billie Jean fame.
It's very nice to meet you.
It is great to meet you. Actually, I guess not a lot of people talk about the whole, if you're at a comic convention, not a lot of people talk about the music at all.
I know, and in fact, I'm very regretful I don't have my CDs to sell today. Because,
I was expecting,
I know, they're in storage because we're moving.
Right. Well,
but they always sell so well here. I'm really
very
just
cool.
a big, I made 2 records that I wrote all the music on and recorded live in Nashville. It's not country music. It's like jazz and pop.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah.
So you like the jazz guitarist and stuff like that?
I'm a piano player, but it's singer-songwriter. I would say it's more like the
maybe, or?
Diana Krall, but like pop also, little Carly Simon. And,
that's cool. I'll take it. I'm a James Taylor guy. I like James Taylor.
Exactly.
I like all that good stuff. Willie Nelson. All right, well, I actually want to talk to you about fan films.
Yes.
I was speaking to you before, actually, like a bonehead. I erased the audio somehow. But basically, I told Ms. Slater about fan films and about Confessions of a Teenage Supergirl, which is a Supergirl fan film by Dan Nastro. And I'd really love her to check it out since she's here. And I really wanted to play this for Dan later, so he could be like, you spoke to Supergirl, that's great.
Well, please tell him I look forward to seeing it on your site. It sounds fantastic.
It's very, very fun stuff. And any plans for a reappearance on Smallville at all?
I hope. I had such a great time making that. I am going to be in a new TV series called Gigantic. That's going to be on Teen Nickelodeon, and we'll see. The Smallville people, they know
they got you in the pocket there waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
And he still unleash you whenever they need to.
It'd be great.
So, have you actually done any research on your character for the show? Read any comics or anything like that?
I have read, since doing Supergirl, I've read more comics over the last 20 years. So, yeah.
Very cool. Cool. So, again, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
And is there a website we can go to check out your music?
Well, HelenSlater.com and also CDBaby.com.
I know those guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But she was great.
Yeah.
She was willing to answer the questions and go along with my stupidity, and it was all good.
Yeah.
That's all I ask for, in my interviews. I always have to spring like a dumb question or two with people. And
What happened with Helen? You spoke with her once, right? That's just what I got out of the
I got a funny story, kind of. It turns out that wasn't really the official beginning of the interview.
Yeah.
Originally, I went up to her myself and started the initial kind of like fan film thing with her, talking about it, seeing if she was aware of the Supergirl fan films that are out there, if she knew what one was, period. So I recorded a whole bunch of that audio. It was great audio. And I said, oh, thank you very much, and I ended it. And I went to a corner just trying to hear my playback. And it ended up that I didn't fucking record it.
Oh, you dumbass.
It was all dead air. I was like, you son of a bitch. I ended up pressing, I think, the play button instead of the record button. So I got no audio at all, and I felt like such a douche because I was like, now I'm going to have to go back to her and explain how retarded I am.
Yeah.
So
she probably knew that when she saw you.
Yes, I was like, oh, this poor young man. So it was funny. Like there was this such a random selection. Like there's people from the original Battlestar were there.
Uh-huh.
Like Herb Jefferson Jr. was there.
Shit.
Guy from the new Battlestar. He guy who wears the patch. Michael Hogan.
I never got into that show. I didn't like it.
He was there, and it's kind of a funny thing. Like halfway through Friday, I'm like, let me go outside and check my audio, make sure everything's cool. So I went outside to the parking lot so I can hear. And I was listening to my recorder, and I just started to listen to it when, by the van, I see Herb Jefferson Jr. and Michael Hogan smoking cigarettes, just kind of like sitting there smoking butts, and I thought it was kind of funny,
Yeah.
It was like a Battlestar butt smoking session.
Ooh.
No, that sounds really...
Were they sniffing each other's butts? Were they tasting each other's butts?
They were smoking them and chewing them. They were showing a bone in the parking lot and smoking a J and all that stuff. So I get in, we had a little cipher going, two take two, pulling, pass it around. But it was just like a lot of kind of like little funny things happened that day. Like also at the beginning of the show, at this show they actually had one of the original Batmobiles there from the '60s TV series. So I'm just kind of taking pictures of the Batmobile, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear, "Hey, Louie, come take a picture of me." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I turn around, and it's the guy from The Sopranos, Big Pussy from The Sopranos.
No, I never got into that show either.
But he was there, and he's like, "Hey, Louie, take a picture of me in the Batmobile." Jeez. So I'm like, "Oh my God! Like I have to get this picture." On Friday, there was supposed to be a big, I'm a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan and a huge Smallville fan, so obviously, John Schneider's going to be there, and Tom Wopat and, possibly Catherine Bach's going to be there for a Dukes reunion. Yeah. I want to be there. I mean, I've met Catherine Bach once before.
Yeah.
I haven't met Tom Wopat or John Schneider, so I was really happy to, get the chance to meet them and interview them. But I went over to John Schneider's table after I talked to Tom Wopat, and I said, "So what's going on with the reunion today? We're going to do this today?" He said, yeah, it's going to go down later on. You should come by. And I said, all right, cool. So the time comes around, and here's the Dukes. You have to go to the same building as security for the Dukes of Hazzard reunion. So I had to leave the hall and go to this other building again. And it was a nice big hall, So I sat down, 10 or 15 more people walked in, and that was kind of it. I was saying to myself, there's got to be more people here that are like Dukes and Smallville fans. There's got to be. So I'm waiting, and I'm like, man, where's everybody? And I hardly see anybody. And up on stage comes the guy who was representing Wizard, and he says, "Okay, folks, thanks for coming to the Duke reunion today. Unfortunately, Tom Wopat and Catherine Bach are not going to be able to be with us."
Okay.
So everybody was kind of like, "Oh, damn it." And they didn't know, and they were like, "Oh, boo," or whatever. And they said, well, John Schneider's here, and he's willing to talk with everybody today and answer any questions. So everybody automatically got all happy again. And so, he got up there, and he was kind of standing at the podium like a motivational speaker. It was kind of fun. And it was funny. You hear him in the audio. He's like, "I'm not used to this whole standing up and speaking on a microphone thing." So, but he's such a great speaker that it really he could easily just kind of work the podium and not a problem.
Yeah.
Very accessible, friendly guy.
Very opinionated. which I like.
which is great.
Especially about the Dukes movie, that remake.
I mean, I'm a fan, and I thought it was a piece of shit, but I own it. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah,
but
it was a piece of shit, yeah. And I never saw the sequel, which was probably
you don't want
piece
to.
of shit.
You don't want to.
No, I know.
Yeah, oh, my God. Insult to injury, That's definitely salt in the wound, just rubbing the salt in there. And but, I mean, you couldn't ask for a more stand-up dude, because afterwards I, went up to him and said, can I have a couple words for, my website and my podcast? And he was like, oh, sure. And his manager, I guess, was beside him, or I don't know what he was, but I said, I'm here to talk to Mr. Schneider. I'm William McKenzie from Fanboy Theater and Fan Film Podcast. I had a appointment to see him, which was prearranged before the con through emails. And the guy looked at me like I had 17 heads. He was like, now you what? You want a what? Who are you? You want a what? I'm like, I'm William McKenzie, Fanboy Theater and Fan Film Podcast. He's like, he's kind of like give me the I don't know about you look,
Yeah.
And then he kind of looked at John. He's like, oh, you want to talk? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, oh, come here. So I just kind of like said F you to the guy. So the guy was trying to be all like, so who are you? Are you worthy enough to talk to John Schneider?
There's too many of those, but yeah.
So I was like, I'm here to talk to Mr. Schneider. I already, talked to people about it. And
I'm here with Mr. Jonathan Schneider from Smallville Dukes of Hazzard fame. Say hello to the good people.
Hey, nice to be here. This is exciting. I'm excited to help folks keep their passion about making independent films. I think it's cool.
That's what we're about. It's great to hear that. Let's just skip right into the independent thing.
Okay.
Your film, Collier and Country.
Right.
Is it your vision of what Dukes of Hazzard would be if they're still around today?
Yeah. Collier and Company had the heart and soul of Dukes of Hazzard. Kind of silly bad guys, a guy that was trying to keep his family together. Somebody whose family was more important than his own fun. And I think that's what they missed so much on the movie. The movie missed all of the heart and soul of the show.
It made it for today's rauncher American Pie, I guess, type audience.
Yeah, which was a stupid idea.
Because it just defeats the purpose of the Dukes altogether.
Well, and what it also says is it says that they believe there aren't enough Dukes of Hazzard fans out there of the original material to make a movie.
That's why every year they have huge fests everywhere.
I know, and there are 28 million people a week watch Dukes of Hazzard.
I know.
More, by the way, than Star Trek. So
wow, I didn't even know that. I'm a Trekkie. I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah,
I'm a Dukes fan too. So great. Anyway, how did you find being in charge of most of the film's aspects, directing, editing, as opposed to just acting in a film?
It made acting really easy.
Really?
Yeah. There's really nothing to that job anymore. Directing is a kick because you're involved in every facet of it. You're involved in what is in every shot all day, the whole time you're shooting. But I tell you, I really enjoyed editing. I had edited some things before, but being able to take all the film that you've got and cut it into whatever order you want, and that's really where the movie is made. The acting and when you film something, you're basically putting together a color palette, but when you're editing, you're actually making the film.
Right. Oh, there you go. Take the good, keep the good, get rid of the bad.
Yes.
All right, let's get to a kind of a morbid question here. Do you get any fan mail demanding the return of Jonathan Kent from the afterlife?
It would do me no good. I get people all the time, but what they need to do is they need to write into the CW. Email the CW, inundate the CW with that request, and I guarantee you it'll happen.
Very nice.
If it doesn't happen, if people don't do it, it won't happen.
I'll be one of them.
Okay.
All right, it's kind of a silly question, but who do you think would make a better Superman? Your Tom Welling or the Brandon Routh? Made the recent movie, Superman Returns.
There's no better Superman on the planet than Tom Welling.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That is the single most perfect piece of television casting I've ever seen.
Everybody just pictures, if he has to be Superman, he has to have short hair. He can't have that shaggy hair. He has to be clean cut, really. But with the new series,
Superman yet.
With the new series, you can see it happening. You can see it happening slowly. The hair is starting to get a little more like.
Well, as he's getting older, yeah. So, remember, he's not Superman yet.
Exactly. That's what people have to remember. So, where's his suit? Why isn't he flying around?
He's not Superman.
Okay. All right. There's another one. How would you compare the crowd at a Comic-Con to the Duke Fest crowd?
differently dressed. Yeah, there's no Chewbacca running around. But I tell you, R2-D2 just went by.
I just saw that.
With the Dixie horn and the Dukes of Hazzard theme playing.
I didn't hear that.
It was great.
That's awesome.
It's great. I mean, it's really terrific to be around people who really support what we do. You know, we work for the people who are here, and not just at Comic-Con, on Smallville, on Dukes, on Nip Tuck, on all that. The actors really work for the fan. If it weren't for the fan, we wouldn't have anything to
That's what it is. We try and remind people in our radio show that it's the passion that drives the project. If you don't have the passion, it shows in a film.
Oh, absolutely.
It shows.
You can't just stand up there and be blah.
Who wants to sit for an hour and have to watch blah? No one wants to.
You don't want to watch somebody who's bored?
No, exactly.
Good.
All right. Are you a fan of comics at all?
I used to be. I don't have time anymore.
What did you used to collect? Any names you could throw out?
No, I would just go to the store, go to the newspaper store, and get whatever. You know, I always judge a book by its cover.
Got some amazing covers out there.
They did, you know, and I don't know how. If I was a child today looking at some of these anime chicks, I don't think I'd ever leave the house.
You grow up a little bit faster.
A little bit faster, yes.
As your pants get a little bit shorter, that's dirty. I had to throw that one in.
Whoa.
All right. Care to share any feelings about the current direction of Smallville? Smallville, sorry.
Honestly, I've not watched it.
Oh man, I'm telling.
I know. You got to tell. I'm not. You know,
I'm calling it the CW tomorrow and say, hey.
Well, you know, I mean, it was my favorite show when I was on it.
Right. Of course.
But
that's understandable.
Yeah, I hear a lot about where it's going, but it seems to me like it should be called Metropolis, and it's not Smallville anymore.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. All right, well, I guess we'll just end it on that note.
Fine, end it on that note, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schneider.
You're quite welcome. You keep watching Smallville anyway.
And I will support you no matter what you do anyway, so.
All right.
But, you know, the interview went on, and he was very, very friendly, and he's a very cool dude. And so we were talking about a little bit about Collier, and it's kind of like a fan film in a way. You know,
right, that's what I'm saying. It's based on Hazard because the other people fucked up the remake.
Right. So that was like one of my questions. Like, would you consider it a Dukes fan film? Because it's made by. Sure, he's an actor, but he's also a fan because the guy has restored. Literally, the guy has restored, I think, 1369 Chargers.
Oh wow!
Which is the General Lee.
Yeah.
And he's made 13 General Lees. I think that's the right number. And every year he does Duke Fest, and every year he meets fans here and there. He's always willing to sign an autograph, and and he's talks about Dukes all the time. And so it was a great 2 days to sum up. Yeah. I mean, it was really fun, and everybody was more than happy to talk to you, Hollywood-wise, and it was a lot of fun. I forgot to mention, but I did understand that on Friday that Joe Simon would possibly be doing autographs. On Friday, the health pending. He's a older gentleman. He's about 93 now.
Joe who?
Joe Simon, who is the co-creator of Captain America, along with Jack.
Oh, okay.
He's an older gentleman now. He's about 93, 94 years old. So he was health pending. Right. Was going to be there. So I said, "Oh, that's awesome! I got to see him. I hope he's not sick enough not to come. Because I'm a huge Captain America fan. It'd be an absolute honor to meet the guy. The guy's a living legend. He ran Simon and Kirby Studios." Which they were a powerhouse in the golden age of comics.
Yeah,
one of the founders of the major kind of comic studios. I went along for a while. And there's people with 17 comics for the guy to sign.
Yeah,
I'm sitting on the fucking line with my one wizard pull-out poster of Captain America to get signed.
Right.
Which I think is more than enough for everyone.
Absolutely. 1 or 2 items.
And I saw these fuckheads at the front of the line. I'm going to get mad because I'm thinking about it. It was just so ridiculous. You get these fuckheads who had 18 to 20 comics in their hand. But you know where those comics are going.
Mm-hmm.
They're going right on eBay as soon as they walk out of there.
Exactly.
They could give a shit less. So that gets me mad. I waited forever to get up in front of that line. Because, and then after a while, the guys were getting annoyed that were assisting Mr. Simon. They were like, he can only do 2 or 3. He can only do 2 or 3 autographs. Everyone's kind of like, oh, moaning and groaning. And I'm still saying, fuckhead, let me get ahead of you. I have 1 fucking poster to sign.
Right, exactly.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I hate to do it. but I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, see?
I mean, have
it's
some
gotten you in
consideration.
trouble in the past, but you can't disagree with that.
Have some consideration for the artist, or I mean, the art, depending on what his art is.
Well, he did both, actually. He was a double threat. He wrote and he did art.
Okay. Anyways, have respect for him, and damn it, have respect for the people that are in line.
Right. So, all these guys are getting there thinking, I'm just rolling my eyes and crossing my arms and going, oh, God, come on.
Crossing my legs. And
eventually I'm, like, shouting shit out on the line. I'm like, 2 is enough.
I can see you doing that.
And people were like, I know. I got to the front of the line. I got to, meet Mr. Simon. First and foremost, I said, it's an honor. Let me shake your hand. So I shook his hand, and I asked him and the guy's like, well, he's not doing the handshaking today, the guy, his assistant. And I was like, okay. And then I thought about it, and he was like, all these things that are going right. He's an older man. You got to understand.
Yeah.
So, of course, I got a little offended at first.
Yeah. No,
and then I thought about it after the fact, and I said, oh, of course. Well, the poor guy's 93 years old, and, so I don't want to get him sick or anything like that.
And we know how cleanly fanboys are.
Yes, exactly.
Stereotypical fanboys.
You're lucky they have a shower every 5 months. I don't include myself.
That's not true. I don't believe that.
I don't include myself in there. I'm about Chris.
I'm not that much of a fanboy. I don't even know who half those people you listed off were.
I know.
I'm kind of like I'm not a closet fanboy. I'm just not. I don't know.
We consider people like you cute. That's what we consider people. Oh, isn't he cute trying to know things?
That's about it. So cute. I know little things about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know a lot of stuff about one thing. Exactly.
I know a lot about shit that's not going to get me a job. Exactly. That's what I know. I got a lot. If I can get paid for what I know, the shit that I know about, I'd be a bazillionaire by now.
I'm right with you.
Even a number, but so I guess to sum it up, that was